Hi there, it's Rob here from the gym. I hope you're well. Okay, grab yourself a pint of water and find yourself a nice, relaxing environment for you to be able to do a nice restorative stretch class. Highly recommend you put on some nice, slow, relaxing music in the background for you to be able to do all these stretches. We're going to be working through three major stretches here, which will take the majority of this class. We're going to work through a warm-up, work through the functionality of our body, and then hold some stretches. These stretches are going to hold for between 2 and maybe 5 minutes. And they're designed, if you do an awful lot of office-based work, or seated, or driving around, they're brilliant for increasing the flexibilities of your thighs, your hip flexors, and your wrists and abdominals. So all the positions that we get tightened up into, we're going to try and lengthen those muscles in this class. So great little all-around body workout. Grab yourself a drink. Feel free to share this video as well to get it out there, because the more people that are stretching and moving, the better. Cheers. Okay, so let's find ourselves a space. We're just going to check around one way, check around the other, make sure we've got plenty of room. We're going to have our feet so they're a fist gap apart, our hands on our hips, and we're just going to roll our feet forward and backwards. Our chest is lifted up nice and high, chin off our chest, and then we're just going to drop our arms down by our side. From here, we're going to slow the pace right down. We've got a really interesting challenge for you to start off this class. I want you to see if you can close your eyes and keep your feet rolling backwards and forwards. So you're rolling over your knuckles of your feet and back down again. And I want you to feel your big toe to your little toe across the foot, rolling across. So the knuckles are getting down to the ground. We're going to bring the hips forward slightly. We're going to lift our chest. We're going to tuck our elbows back down into the side of our body. Now, as you're doing this, can you do it with your eyes closed? And if you're struggling with that, of course, open your eyes. What I want you to do is see if you can take 4 deep breaths in and out. Keep the ankles moving and moving around. Now, try and focus 100% onto this. What that means is that your mind's not allowed to wander. As soon as your mind wanders from it, maybe a phone call comes in, maybe you've got a different thought comes into your head, somebody's face comes into your mind, come back to breathing. Okay, all the way through this, focus on that breathing. From here, stretch the arms out, down towards the side, lift the chest, close the eyes, roll over those knuckles, and let's give me 4 controlled deep breaths in. See if you do all 4 without your mind wandering away. Did you manage to do it? If your mind wandered away from that, relax your arms out. If it went on to something to do with work or family, or a face came into you, I want you to just grab a pen and paper, maybe just write it down, so hopefully you can lose that information that's gathering up in your brain. Chuck it down on a piece of paper so it's out of your mind. Okay, let's try that again. We're going to thumb out wide, open up our fingers and wet them out as wide as we can. If you do a lot of typing work, you're going to find this is quite an effective stretch. I want you to almost bring those fingers back, so it's kind of clawing behind us here. Again, we're going to lift our chest up, tuck our elbows in. You do a lot of gardening as well. A lot of fine motor neuron skills there as well. Great way of opening up. Building as well. Really good stuff this one. Okay, let's close our eyes again. Let's work. 4 deep breaths in. And out. Does your mind wander, or can you keep it focused? From here, relax it. Circle the arms up wide, stretch up high overhead. Interlock your fingers and press up high to the ceiling. Toes facing forwards, still working over the knuckles each time. You might be finding you can now extend slightly further. Try and elongate a little bit higher, pressing up. Feeling the length of our body, you might be feeling the intercostals, the muscles that are in between our ribs, starting to lengthen slightly here. Still pushing up high on the arms, these elbows pushed up and looked out high. Fingers interlocked. And we're going to bring the arms forward, up and over, in line with our chest. From here, relaxing it out, shaking it out. Stretching the arms out wide up, in line with our chest. Thumbs up nice and high. Extend the fingers out wide, web them out. Bringing the arms back, lifting the chest up. And release. From here, let's right down to the side and slowly putting back up. Checking our feet nice and parallel with each other. Slowly dropping one side, slowly pulling back up and controlling back up to the other. Two more here, side to side. These last two, can you stretch and reach that a little bit further to the side? And again, let the hips tilt and drop to the side again together. Release it out. From here, we're going to circle up the shoulder. We're going to reach up high and forward and back. Circle and reach. Seeing how far we can reach the arms up high overhead, and as far as the arms can reach behind as we lengthen the body through. Two more here. One more here. And release. From there, feet coming wide, we're going to hinge from our hips. Drop down to the middle. Bringing our hands onto our thighs, hinging from the hips, feeling a nice deep long stretch through the back of the legs, through the hamstring group. We're going to turn our toes in just slightly. And feel a nice big stretch all the way through the back of the legs. From here we're going to reach both hands down towards our toes. Keeping the legs nice and long and strong. Slowly raising up through the body, extending and reaching up high, pushing and leaning back into the movement now. So as you're standing here, we're leaning and stretching long. Slowly releasing. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go down onto the floor. If we can, if you struggle on your knees, definitely fold up the mat twice, for example, or grab yourself a cushion or a pillow underneath your knees. So our first exercise we're going to work on is our forearms. Okay, now work through this comfortably. You're going to sit into a position where we're going to go into all fours like we would be in a press-up position here. From here, we're going to fold the wrist back behind us and web our fingers out nice and wide. You should feel a nice stretch through the forearm. We're careful not to overload the wrist. Okay, this isn't about weight bearing in this position. This is about creating flexibility so you can feel a nice deep long stretch, perhaps through the back of the forearm here or over the carpals of the wrist. Work through that range. Now, you might find that you're tilted forward on your chest to start off with. The legs take the majority of the load of the body here. Now, you also have two choices. You can just work the right wrist and keep the other wrist extended into kind of like a press-up palm position here. Okay, so you can take a bit more load on this left wrist and the knees and just extend that wrist through. Okay, alternatively, you can do both at the same time. Now, we've got the wrist nicely cocked at 90 degrees here. We're also looking at trying to keep the shoulders directly over the wrists. I always think this looks so strange as you're holding a stretch position. But it's a lovely way of extending those wrist extensors. So from this position here, I come sideways onto you. As we come forward into the stretch, we release a bit of the stretch out of the wrists. If I bring my body back, so I'm pulling my hips back over my heels slightly, I'm still keeping the wrists cocked and I'm keeping the hips back. I'm feeling a nice deep stretch through the forearms and through the wrists. Don't worry, I'll tell you when to change wrists as well if you're just doing one wrist. Now the other thing I want you to feel is that the fingers are webbed as wide as they can be. You also want to feel all the knuckles down to the ground and the back of your fingernails down to the ground as well. If you're working just solely your right or your left wrist, let's swap over and do the other one. If you're doing both at the same time, nothing wrong with being in this position. And if you're in this cocked position here, you might want to occasionally just come out of it, just move the wrist around. If you do a lot of massage work as well, like I do, this is wonderful for the wrists. Trying to get movement back into them. And you might feel the fingertips start to get a bit fuzzy in this position. If you do, just come out of the stretch. It's a really good way of working the wrist flexibility. And you should be feeling now as well that you might feel a bit more confident. You might want to walk your knees a little bit closer towards your fingertips. You'll be able to sit down a bit lower and you'll be able to create a bit more wrist flexion here. And it still looks really freaky, the back of the knuckles down to the ground. Really great way of working those wrists. So if you do a lot of typing work, a lot of massage work, a lot of building work, a lot of gardening, a lot of typing, this is an absolute must in your day. Get this little stretch in. Now I want you to take a nice deep breath in for 4 seconds. And slowly deep breath out for 8, 7, 6, and 5, 3, 2, and 1. Now, see if you can come out of the stretch. Sitting down, perhaps on the back of your heels, you might need to get up and rest it out. You might be in this position up here, whatever's easiest onto your knees. Okay, interlock your fingers and just see if you can wave a movement here. And come back the opposite way. For me, that was quite painful. I don't know how that was for you. But it's really good work. Really feel it's elongated all of these muscles in my wrist. Okay, so our next one, we're going to bring our hands back into a press-up position. And we're just going to place as much pressure through our wrists as possible down into a press-up position. Our hands in line with our chest here, arms extended. And as you can feel, this is the reverse of what we're doing. Now, you should be able to do this with both hands flat to the floor. Anatomically, we're designed to be on our hands. Now, you might find it more comfortable to sit down on the back of on your knees, but bring a cushion under your bottom if you're finding flexibility there difficult. And if you're finding all of this difficult on your knees, you could sit at a table, at a chair, and just have your fingers extend out from here. Okay. From here, this time, we're going to walk all the way down and lower our chest down to the floor. Just release off both wrists. And from here, you're going to work through an abdominal stretch. So we're going to keep our knees down to the ground, our feet and our knees roughly the same distance apart as our wrists and our hands. The chest is lifted, the hips are lowered. We have a nice curvature through the lower back. We have the extension through the front of the abdominals, and we should be able to feel from our big toe to our little toe flat down to the floor. Should feel a nice arch through the lower back, the chin lifted. And again, as always with this exercise, just feel if you need to come out of it at any point. You might need to just arch your bottom back, just to release it off for a moment. And then stretching back into that low position again. We're trying to lift our chest as high as we feel comfortable. Chin up, eyes up, looking straight ahead. Try and allow the pelvis to just sink a little bit further each time. And on your back legs, you're just going to feel your knuckles are down to your ground and your chin is lifted. Close the eyes, take a deep breath in for 4. Slowly deep breath out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And again, slow deep breath in for 4. Slow exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 1. It's a lovely stretch because after a while you just start to feel yourself sinking into it. Last stretch here for 4, breathe in. Slow exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And release. Stick your back, walking your knees forward. Take your knees out wide, stretch forward into child's pose position. Knees are out wide, feet together, arms relaxed. And here we're going to roll to the left side. We're going to head down to the floor. Lifting our right heel up to our bottom. Keep a little gap between the knees, drive forward on the thighs and forward on the hips. You feel a nice stretch all the way through the front of the right thigh. So the quadriceps, the muscles on the top of the thigh, are nicely stretching out here. What I want you to do now is I want you to try and push forward on your hips, and you're going to pull your knee that's flexed back slightly. So The left leg stays nice and straight here, and the other knee is fully pulled back into position. You shift for a deeper stretch straight through the front of the thigh, slightly higher up in towards that hip joint. Extend the left arm out as far as we feel comfortable. And again, we're going to close the eyes, take a deep breath in for 4 seconds, and slow deep breath out for 8. Slowly releasing that top leg, shake it out. Let's swap over, roll over to the side. Final stretches for today. Head down to the floor, and again, picking up that left foot and drive the hips forward. And at the start here, you're going to have your knees, so they're one stacked on top of the other. Allow a little gap between the knees and allow that knee to just be pulled back behind you, so you're extending and pushing your hips forward. So you can extend this bottom leg that I'm shaking and just trying to push it further away from you. And see me and pull this top leg back just slightly further. Try to feel that extension all the way through the front of the left thigh. And drive the hips a little bit further forward again. The top knee is coming back behind you, giving you that slightly bigger extension, stretching the front of the thigh, the top of the thigh, into those hip flexor muscles. Again, we keep the eyes closed. We take a slow deep breath in for 4. We slowly exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and again, last stretch, deep breath in for 4. And slow exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Allow that leg to extend. Stretch the arm up overhead to reach the other hand. Push away as tall as you can. From here, slowly taking yourself out of the stretch. Going through and standing when you feel comfortable. Flex down, release, stretch, and relax. Hope you've enjoyed that session. Certainly for a big improvement in my forearms and my hip flexors, definitely. Hope that's helped you as well. As always, you've done it live, hashtag the replay. Let me know how you got on with it. As always, if I can help, send me a message. Let me know how I can help. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time for the next one. Well trained.